back YouTube. For anyone's returning, thank you, and for everyone who's new, welcome. I'm Mitch and this is Retro Rummage. I'm going to game my channels buying games, DVDs, Blu-rays, any electrical items I can get my hands on at car boot sales, Facebook Marketplace or charity shops for a cheap price. So I'm getting traded into CX at a high price so I can build my own gaming collection. So yes, back with the long-awaited games room tour. A lot of people have messaged me, asked me to do one, but to be honest, I've only been really collecting games properly for, I'd say, 2 years. So it's only really until recently that I've got to a stage where I'm happy with my games room. There's not much more that I'd want to do to it aesthetically. Obviously there are more games and more peripherals and stuff like that I would like to get further down the line. But in terms of the layout and how it is at the moment, I am happy with it. It is a humble games room in comparison to a lot of other people's. As you can see, I'm not floor to ceiling, wall to wall games. I do have just a smaller selection of games, but as I've said in the past, it's, in my opinion, all killer, no filler. So what I'll do is I'll go around each section of the room, give you a little overview, and we'll take it from there. Right, I'll start with the area that you're all probably most aware of. This is the backdrop to most of, if not all of my videos, apart from a couple of the CEX roulettes. It's good to see how far this has come from when I first started uploading. Not just this area, but also the whole of my games room. It was very, very empty to start with. But yeah, now, in my opinion, it does look very good, and I'm proud of what I've achieved in the last couple of years. PC gaming it was a big part of my childhood. I didn't have PlayStation 3 or 4 or anything like that, growing up sort of thing. I had the PlayStation 1, my brother had a PlayStation 2, but yeah, pretty much from like the early 2000s all the way up until like maybe 2010, 2012, I was PC gaming a lot. And then I also jumped on World of Warcraft when they released or re-released the original clients, which was just before lockdown as well. So I was playing it, quite consistently up until that point. It wasn't until basically I started my channel, so around 2022, I started, collecting consoles and video games properly. I've always had the PlayStation 1 that you can see there boxed. I think I've had that maybe like 10 years now, maybe a little bit longer than that. And I did go for a stage of buying a couple of, the bog standard games like Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil, stuff like that, because at the time you could pick them up quite cheaply, but there were still, expensive games at that time that I thought I'd never be able to afford. But obviously, I learnt about CEX and stuff and trading in, and that's how I, started my YouTube channel, and the reason for it, because I wanted to get these more expensive games. But anyway, yeah, I've got the 4 PlayStation 1 guns there, G-Con 45, I believe they are. Annoyingly, I've still got one to get, which is Point Blank 2. The reason that I've put off buying it is purely because I don't know where I'm going to put it or display it. There's not enough room over there at the moment. It's probably going to be a case of maybe moving the original Time Crisis box, because the other ones are all the same size, and then maybe put the original Time Crisis somewhere else. But that is the beauty of collecting video games. It's not something that you have to rush into. You can always buy it a little bit further down the line, take your time with it and enjoy it. It's not a race, it is a marathon, and it's all about enjoying the journey rather than getting to the finish line. But yeah, then I've got my PlayStation 1 peripherals over there, as well as the box for the console, and I've also got my Nintendo GameCube. Pictures that are hanging up, I've always been kind of a semi-collector. I went through a stage in my early teens of wanting to collect comics, and those ones there are ones that I picked up. I used to go to comic fairs and stuff like that, and they're ones that I just like the look of to hang on the wall at the time. I'm a massive Nirvana fan. They're my favourite band by a long shot. So yeah, that's, I think, the 20th anniversary of Smells Like Teen Spirit vinyl release, and then that's also just a Nirvana magazine that I actually found at the car boot not too long ago. And yeah, the last thing is Pulp Fiction picture there. Again, a massive Quentin Tarantino fan. All of his films I love, with Pulp Fiction probably being in my top 3 films of all time. And then lastly, I've also got is that E Honda from Street Fighter. I think I won that in a competition from B Rad, so he's been perched up there for a long time. But yeah, that's it in terms of what you can normally see. So hopefully the rest of it will be stuff that you haven't seen before. Right, you're going to have to join me on the floor here because the shelving unit is quite low to the floor, and logistically I couldn't get into the shot without sitting on the floor. But yeah, this is what you see as you walk into my games room. This is the first thing that catches people's eyes. Obviously we've got the Metal Gear Solid shelf at the top there. Probably my favourite franchise of all time, if I'm being honest. Yeah, it'd be very hard for me to choose against that. Obviously, I do love Silent Hill and Resident Evil as well, but I think if I had to choose, it would probably be Metal Gear Solid. I've got all of the games on the PlayStation 1 and 2 there, and I also have both the games on the PlayStation 1 twice, as I bought the cardboard sleeve as well. So yeah, really proud of that. These were probably the first games that I got into my collection when I started buying PlayStation 2 and stuff like that. Also got Snake in the little orange box there as well, so I think that looks quite cool. But then yes, underneath that is where I keep most of my games for the PlayStation 1 and 2, and also got my small Nintendo GameCube collection there. As everyone knows, it is very difficult, not only logistically but aesthetically, to store your games in your game room without, obviously you want your room to look nice, but at the same time you want enough room for all of your games. I do have a theme to my room in that, I like this the wood with the industrial pipes. I've also got the shelf over there which is the same. As you probably saw, my PC desk is the same, as well as the TV unit that my newer TV is on. So that's the look I'm going for. Trying to fit all of my games around that and make it look nice is difficult, but I think I've made it work for now anyway. But yeah, all these games here, they're not shelf worthy in the sense of being put on display, but there's still some absolute bangers in here. You've got Hogs of War, Siphon Filter, Command and Conquer, Tomb Raider, Medieval, Oddworld, Soul Blade. The list goes on with them. These ain't just like FIFAs and and rugby games. There's some really good games in there. It's just very difficult to have them all on display at once. My GameCube collection, admittedly, is very small and very humble. The GameCube I did buy about a year or so ago, and admittedly, I was never going to be buying loads and loads of games for it. It was mainly just the Nintendo exclusives. I've got like Luigi's Mansion, Super Smash Bros, Mario Kart, Zelda, stuff like that, but not too much on it. As if I have the choice between owning a game on the GameCube and the PlayStation 2, I will buy it on the PlayStation 2. I tried to get into the GameCube a little bit more than what I have been, but unfortunately, for me, I really don't like the controller. I know it sounds stupid, but I just can't get on with it. It feels cheap and flimsy in my hand, and I just don't enjoy using it. Controls on these older games is difficult as it is, without actually hating the controller that you're using as well. So, maybe in the future, I'll buy some more games for it and have a greater focus on it. But for now, it's definitely on the back burner. And then at the bottom here, which you might not be able to see all of this in the shot there, is all of my PlayStation 2 games. It's getting absolutely rammo down here. There's so many good games to have on the PlayStation 2. And again, like I say, in my opinion, these are all killer, no filler titles. We've got all of the Rockstar games, Grand Theft Autos, Getaway, Midnight Club, Warriors, Red Dead Revolver, all of those types of games. Got Mafia, Scarface, Medal of Honor. The list goes on. Call of Duties, God of War, Tony Hawk's, Street Fighter, Virtua Fighter, The Suffering, Spyro, all games like that. All games that you would play and enjoy, not FIFAs or Just Dance or SingStar, stuff like that. So yeah, very, very, happy and proud to see, like I said earlier, how far this has come. And most of these PlayStation 2 ones, apart from the heavy hitting ones, would be games that I've got from the car boot. Obviously, there are ones where I've gone and done like a little games hunt one day and bought quite a few from CEX shops and stuff like that. But most of them, I'd say probably 70% of them are from the car boot. So that is one nice thing, and the same with the PlayStation 3. Although my collection is lacking there as well, it is fun to be able to buy these games at the car boot and find them in the wild for a cheap price, rather than just buying them online all the time. But yeah, thank you for joining me on the floor. This is, like I said, what you see when you first come into my room, and it's basically just where I store most of my games and obviously display my pride and joy of Metal Gear Solid. Right. We'll go over the TV areas. As you can see, I have 2 TVs, one CRT, and then also my newer, I believe it's Samsung TV for the new gen console, shall we say. Anything with HDMI, I will connect to that one, and then the older ones like my GameCube and PlayStation 2, I connect to my CRT. As you can see, we've got Michigan Report from Hell on here, and then Silent Hill Homecoming on there. In my opinion, and please tell me if you disagree, but if you're collecting retro video games and you have retro consoles and you have the space for it, getting a CRT TV is a must, in my opinion. That you can really tell the difference between playing this on one of these TVs and one of those with the quality. I know you can get upscalers and stuff like that. But for me, it's just the authentic experience. Really happy with that. I think I paid £10 for that. It is a Sony Trinitron. Paid £10 for it. I think I drove up to Clacton to get it. So it's about an hour and a half, maybe pushing 2 hours from me. But yeah, and I could not get it up the stairs on my own. That's another thing. If you want to get especially one this size, make sure you've got friends who can help you carry it up the stairs. But I had to get my mate Jack round. Shout out to Jack. And me and him lumped it up the stairs together. But yeah, got PlayStation 2 at the bottom there, which is what I play my PlayStation 1 and 2 games on. I'm very practical in how I set my stuff out. I'm not going to have a PlayStation 1 and 2 set up when I can just play everything on the PlayStation 2. Got my GameCube down there as well. And that is where I have my humble PlayStation 3 collection. But as I will keep saying, in my opinion, is all killer, no filler. There are some really good games in there. I think most of the ones that I've bought from CEX are the HD collection type ones, and then also Silent Hill Homecoming. But most of the other ones I've either got at the car boot, or I may have bought them in CEX when I was in there in person rather than buying them online. Got a couple of PlayStation 1 controllers down there, the coloured ones, but to be honest, I actually use one of these newer wireless ones just because I hate cables and I find that it's easier with that. But you couldn't tell the difference holding that, whether that was a PlayStation 2 or a copy controller. I've also got some PlayStation 5 and I think 1 or 2 PlayStation 4 games down there. Really enjoying PlayStation 5 at the moment. Playing through God of War Ragnarok at the moment. It is taking me a while. These games where they're like 30-40 hours to complete, it does take me a while to get through them, as I'm lucky if I can do 2 or 3, maybe even 4 hours throughout the week. So it does take a while, but I am really enjoying them. And then like I say, I've got my PlayStation 3 games there as well, wedged in between the GameCube. But like I was saying, if you can, get one of them, but it's not the end of the world if you can't. And then I've got is it a Samsung? Yes, it is a Samsung. Now, in my opinion, I paid a lot of money for this TV. Probably the most I've ever spent on the TV. I think it was about just shy of £1,000, and that was my own money, not with CEX vouchers, unfortunately. But in my opinion, if you're going to spend all the money on a PlayStation 5, you need a TV to match its output. There's no point, getting a TV that's got a slow refresh rate, or can't get to 144 hertz, stuff like that, because you're not going to get the full experience of the PlayStation 5. So Forked out for that as well, and I've also got my PlayStation 3 down there. I have got a theme in that all of my consoles have to be as close to silver, platinum. I think, well, I've got silver PlayStation 2 and 3, platinum GameCube, and then I think they call it sterling silver on the PlayStation 5. I've got the you can get the replaceable covers for them. I think it was about 50 or 60 quid, and I've also got the controller to match. But in my opinion, it kind of looks more like a bluish silver than a platinum silver, if that makes sense. But yeah, got my Sky up here. I've also got a Fire Stick, so I can well and truly sit in here for hours upon hours. If I get the time, if I'm not editing or if I'm not at the car boot, to either play games or watch videos, or watch sports as well. I am an avid Tottenham Hotspur fan. Someone's got to support them, but I do tend to watch all of the games up here as well. So yeah, very, very nice setup in my opinion. I've got my sofa over here, but when I'm getting right stuck into the game, I do get the PC chair and sit with my forehead resting against the screens, because I do get right into the games. But yeah, that's it in terms of my TV and stuff like that. What I will mention as well is that, probably as you know, the main enemy of a retro video game collector is sunlight. The last thing you want is all of these games, especially if you've got your Nintendo cardboard and stuff like that, spending all this money on them for them to get sun bleached. So what I've had put on the windows, and I would recommend to you, you probably can't see it there, but it's like a UV film that you stick onto the back of the mirror, back of the window, and then on the other side it looks like a mirror. You can't really tell there. But when it's, like we're in the middle of September, pushing October now, so when it's days like this, it's absolutely fine to have the window open. There wouldn't be much sunlight getting in. But when there are, days of extreme sunlight in the summer, for the 2 or 3 days that we do get in the UK, I have got the trusty automatic window.
2 hours later.
So yeah, when that's down, it's basically pitch black on here without the lights on and everything. So both of those, in my opinion, are a must-have. Do get something that can block out the daylight, because you don't want your cardboard getting sun faded. So yeah, we've done a full circle. That leads us back to the centerpiece, the piece de la resistance, if that is the correct pronunciation of that saying. But yeah, this is where I display all of my heavy hitting, rare, expensive games, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, really proud of what I've achieved in the last 2 years, pretty much. I'm pretty sure it was maybe like July 2022. I started my YouTube channel. I was like, right, that's it. I'm going to get serious about collecting games. There's games here that I never dreamed that I would get. Obviously, the more that I've learned about car boots and stuff like that, the more I'm able to get vouchers. But when I first started out, I was maybe getting 40 or 50 quid a week, and I was thinking, it would take me forever to be able to save up for some of these expensive games. But yeah, with the help of you guys, my knowledge has increased. What's worth picking up, what I can trade into CX, what I can flip on eBay, and I'm really, steaming through all of the games that I've wanted. If anything, I'm struggling to find games that, that I want to add to my collection. But yeah, also got the Guitar Heroes down the side. I've also got Buzz controllers with the box there as well. And then, as always, with anyone else who's probably the same as me in terms of TVs, monitors and everything like that, I've got about 50 TV remotes down there. And then I've also got a box which has all of my controllers for all of my consoles in there, and then also spares just in case I have friends or whatever come round. But yeah, we'll go over what's at the bottom. So yeah, this is probably... Well, it's hard to say what would be my most expensive shelf, but this has definitely got some of my most expensive games, if not the 2 most expensive. Michigan Report from Hell, and also Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Yeah, those 2 together I think is around £1,000, which is crazy really. A couple of other games that have jumped up in price since I bought them. Got Project 03. I think I paid like £100 for that. I think it's nearly 150. Same with Haunting Ground. I think I paid like 100 for that, and I think that's like up to £140. 10,000 Bullets. I'm sure I paid £90 for that, and that's again 140. Manhunt 2. I think I spent 50 on that, and it's pushing 90 now. Clock Tower 3. I actually got that from a car boot for £2, but that copy as well, I did already buy a copy from it before, from CEX, which I paid like £40 for, and I sold that on eBay. So in my mind, I'm saying that I got that from the car boot for for £2. And then yeah, I've also got Twisted Metal and Legend of Dragoon on the PlayStation 1 there to make up the bottom shelf. Yeah, second from top shelf is, yeah, definitely all killer, no filler on this shelf. Some very expensive games: Trombone, Mega Man, Suikoden, Clock Tower, In the Hunt, Strider, Sub-Zero, Mortal Kombat Mythology, Sub-Zero, Toonby, Chocoboca Racing. Loads of games at the top. So Castlevania Chronicles, Jackie Chan is crazy. I bought that for £80, and I don't even think that was long ago, and it's now £160. Cooler World, £70 I paid for that, and that's now £140. So yeah, that's doubled in price. But then I have lost money. Mega Man Legends, I paid £250 for that, and that's now down to £170. I think there's another one maybe. Oh yeah, Klonoa, if I'm pronouncing that right. I think I spent like 150 on that. It's down to 110 now. So yeah, I always say though, you know, video games, don't do it as an investment. Buy games that you want to buy that are, you know, fun to play. You're happy to have them in your collection. If they go up in price, happy days. If they don't, doesn't matter, because it's just a game that you want in your collection. Also got a couple of other games down here: Metal Slug, Parasite Eve 2, and Batman Forever, the arcade game. That's actually a really good game. I do like that game. And then the middle shelf, we've got Resident Evil games on the PlayStation 1 and 2. I think there's just one missing, which is, I believe, Resident Evil Survivor or Dead Aim, which I think is I think it's Resident Evil Dead Aim that I need for the PlayStation 2. That's it. And then yeah, I mean, you could say Resident Evil 1, the director's cut, I need as well, but I may get that further down the line, but I'm happy with it at the moment. I do need the other one on the PlayStation 2. And then I've also got, I believe that's a NECA, Nemesis, what do you want to call it, figure. I think I only paid like £30 or £40 from that on eBay. I managed to snipe it on an auction. I have seen other ones go for like over £100. But yeah, it's nice to have on the shelf with the rest of the games. And then this originally started off as the Pokemon shelf, but it's slowly turning into the Game Boy shelf, because I did get a copy of Herb Sims in the City from one of my subscribers at the car boot, and yeah, I thought I'll keep it. Whether or not I'll get more Game Boy games in the future, we'll see. But yeah, got all of the Pokemon games there, from Red all the way up to Pokemon Crystal and Emerald on the Game Boy Advance. Also, my most recent pickup, which I do need to get a box protector for, is Pokemon Pinball. And then I've got my 3 Game Boys that I managed to get from the car boot. I've got the Game Boy Color Pichu one, paid like £15 for that. The original Game Boy in there. There is a contention as to whether that box is real. Some people have said it's not, some people have said it is, but I'm happy to have it on display. I think I paid £20 for that. And then I've got my Game Boy Advance SP there, which I got from the car boot for £5. I'm currently playing through Pokemon Crystal as well. I just need to beat the Elite Four at the moment. And then yeah, that brings us on to the last shelf. In terms of franchise, I mean, or maybe the Pokemon one, because there's so many games, but this is a very expensive shelf as well. Got obviously Silent Hill on the PlayStation 1, then Silent Hill 2, the Director's Cut, Shattered Memories, Origins, Silent Hill 3 and 4. With Silent Hill Shattered Memories being the most expensive, I think, because it's the BBFC FOC, if I'm getting that the grade round the right way. I think it's about £350 or £60 now. I think I paid £250 for it, so it's jumped up quite a bit in the time that I bought it. Also, one of my most recent pickups was this copy of Silent Hill 2, which in my opinion is absolutely mint. I haven't seen a better copy of it in person in myself, and I'm not just saying that to blow my own trumpet. So yeah, really happy to get that at a good price of £60 as well. So yeah, chuffed to get that on the shelf in such a nice condition. Still need to play through a couple of these. I've completed Silent Hill 1 and 2 now. I don't know whether to do it in chronological order, or maybe just give Silent Hill Shattered Memories a go, because that is the most expensive. But yeah, that is pretty much all of the games that are on that shelf, give or take a few that you may not have seen, but all in all, very, very expensive set of shelves in my opinion, but one that I'm very, very proud of. And then yeah, just a quick mention to I've got all my guides that are framed and hanging on the wall. I've got basically my favourite franchises plus one or two others. Got Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil, Silent Hill, and then I've also got Final Fantasy and Parasite Eve 2. So yeah, I think they look really cool and they really bring the room together. But yeah, that is it. That is my humble games room. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed the tour. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions about my games or anything that I've got in my room. I'll try to answer them as best as I can. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.